The story begins with Anna, a freelance writer, moving to a small, quiet town to escape the noise of the city and focus on her latest project. She rents a modest house on the outskirts, surrounded by dense woods. From the moment she arrives, she notices the unnatural stillness. There are no birds chirping, no rustling leaves, just an eerie silence. Um, the locals seem polite but distant, speaking in hushed tones when she passes by. They avoid answering her questions about the area and only tell her to stay indoors after dark. One evening, while working late, Anna's Wi Fi cuts out. Frustrated, she steps outside to see if there's an outage. That's when she notices something odd. Every house on the street has its lights off, and the silence is even more oppressive. There's not a single sound, not even the wind. As she stands there, a flicker of movement catches her eye at the edge of the woods. It's a figure barely visible in the moonlight, standing unnaturally still. I thinking it's her imagination. She quickly goes back inside and locks the door. Over the next few nights, the silence becomes unbearable. Even in her house, there's no hum of appliances, no creaks of the floorboards, just complete suffocating quiet. She starts to hear faint noises at night, a single knock on the window, soft tapping on the walls. When she looks, there's nothing there. She tries to convince herself it's just her mind playing tricks, but the tension grows. One night, unable to sleep, Anna decides to record the strange silence on her phone, hoping to capture proof of what she's experiencing. She leaves the recorder running overnight. The next morning, she plays it back. For hours, there's nothing but silence. Until around 3 a.m., a faint whisper cuts through the quiet. It's impossible to make out the words, but the tone is cold, deliberate. Her blood runs cold when she hears her name being whispered. She rewinds, listens again. The voice is clearer this time, but still too distorted to identify. Terrified, Anna goes to the local library to research the area. She discovers an old newspaper article about a series of disappearances in the 1970s. All the victims lived on the same street she does now. The cases were never solved, and the only connection was a strange detail. Neighbors reported hearing nothing unusual, as if the area itself had swallowed the victims whole. The silence, Anna realizes, might be more than just the lack of sound. Uh, it's a long lie of reason. That night, she decides to stay awake and record again. At exactly 3 a.m., the tapping begins. This time, it's louder, more insistent. She grabs her phone and turns on the flashlight, shining it toward the window. There's nothing there. The tapping moves to the front door. Trembling, she approaches, phone in hand, and peers through the peephole. The porch is empty, but she feels a presence. Something watching her. Suddenly, her phone buzzes in her hand. It's a notification from the recording app. She opens it to find an audio clip labeled with the current time. She didn't press record. Heart pounding, she plays it. The whisper is back, clearer this time. Leave now. Panicked, Anna packs a bag and prepares to leave. But as she opens the front door, she freezes. The figure from the woods is standing at the edge of her driveway, still as a statue. Its face is obscured by shadow, but she can feel its gaze. The oppressive silence deepens, pressing in on her ears like a physical weight. She slams the door and retreats to the kitchen, clutching a knife. Hours pass and the silence doesn't break. Anna sits in the corner, staring at the door, until exhaustion overtakes her. When she wakes, the morning sun is streaming through the windows. The silence is gone. Birds are chirping, and the hum of distant traffic reaches her ears. Relieved, she steps outside, half convinced it was all a bad dream. When she wakes to what seems like going on forever. Light is still coming through the door until exhaustion overtakes her. When she wakes, the morning sun streaming through the windows begins to blind her. It was Friday and morning off. As she loads her car to leave, a neighbor approaches, an elderly woman she hasn't spoken to before. The woman looks at Anna with pity and says, "You heard it, didn't you, the silence?" Anna nods, unsure of what to say. The woman sighs. You're lucky. Most people who hear it don't make it out." Without another word, the woman turns and walks away. Anna doesn't hesitate. She drives out of the town, vowing never to return. But as she reaches the highway, a strange thought creeps into her mind. She turns on the radio to drown it out, but the signal is static. And then, through the static, she hears it. The same whisper. It says, "You can't escape the silence."